I know that you graduated from Louisa County High School, but there were a few people during those first years of integration who transferred out of Louisa County High School. Some people went to Rock Hill.
Right.
Did you know anyone that transferred out, and or do you know why people were transferring out?
Yeah, I knew several, and I don't know that I want to name names, but I think the express reason was that their parents didn't want them to go to school with blacks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Personal choice, you know?
So now going back to 1965, what influenced you to leave A.G. Richardson and attend Louisa County High School?
Thinking back, the thing that sticks out was, I remember the paper came through mail.
What was the
And
paper?
it was a form you had to fill out, check box or where you went to go. And I remember being on the phone with Joan and Beulah, and I don't know which one of us said it, but if you go, I'll go. That's what, if you go, I'll go.
Okay.
So that's what I remember from then.
Now,
And I think they both said they'll go, so I went.
so there were no adults influencing you or
No,
your parents?
They just said, I know my mom said, well, we hope that's a good decision, because at this county, I remember her saying that. I hope, first she said, I hope that's a good decision you're making, because how this county is, so. And her words were, there are a lot of rubbish people that live here. Those were her exact words. There are a lot of rubbish people that live here, so.
Okay. Now, you said you attended Louisa High School for just maybe 2 years. Where did you
Yeah,
go from there?
what I ended up doing, and I went to Rock Hill. My parents decided that I needed to be doing a little bit better in school than I was doing, and I really found out I wasn't applying myself, and I was, even though Mr. Martin was, a good friend of mine, I was getting in trouble with, doing. I didn't do very well at, backing down from people and stuff. So I ended up in a few little skirmishes. And so my parents decided it was best that they needed to get me somewhere that I would pay a little more attention to my grades than I was doing at the time.
Okay. Now, I think there are probably some other Louisa students that transferred also. How much did race play into a factor for either you? Maybe start with you first. Was that a
Well,
factor at all?
no, for me, it wasn't. It was
Okay.
for my parents. And I can say that quite honestly. The purpose for my transfer was because they felt like that I needed to get somewhere that was going to be more, in other words, force you to do the academics and stuff like that. Because, I wasn't paying nearly as much attention to my schoolwork as I was everything else.
Do you know anyone who went to Rock Hill to avoid integration?
Yes,
What do you
several.
think were the reasons? And before we go into that, was it the student or child, or you think it was more the parent?
Probably the parents.
And what do you think was that reason?
Well, I mean, there would only be one reason they would do that. Well, yeah, I mean, it's obvious that was the reason, that they didn't want their child in an integrated classroom. And they had the money to put them in a private classroom. I don't think private schools are any better than our public schools. So that's my final word on that.
Because I remember this was at the fair, at, you know, the farmer's fair one year. And I'm trying to think if I was still in high school, but I remember a bunch of young whites, and I could call one of the names down. They were walking around singing the old rugged cross. Now, you know what that was about, even though it was a religious song, but you know what they were, why they were singing that. So you had groups that or a group that would probably give you some problems along those lines.
So going, I guess that first day, we kind of went to the auditorium and probably had the welcome speech by
Yeah,
Martin, the
it
principal.
was a welcome speech, and I sat down and all the seniors stood up and they wouldn't sit down. They were protesting.
Protesting?
You
Okay.
know, I guess because I was a Black senior in their school, I guess.
Okay.
And they just stood up, you know, on the side. And so, and it was 100 and whatever of them. It was a bunch of them. And it was, you know, Sally and myself, you know, sitting on the front row looking silly. and all the other seniors, you know, stood up. So, and anyway, and I just said, oh my God, what have I done? It's going to be a long year. And, you know, and I just said, oh my gosh. And I, you know, pretended it didn't bother me. I was cool, you know.
And thinking through kind of the first few weeks or first few months, were there any, do you recall any white students who were friendly towards you?
No,
Okay. What about teachers? Were there any of that?
not so much. No,
Okay. Were there any students who were unfriendly?
a lot of them.
Okay.
Well, most of them actually. Yeah.
And in what ways were they unfriendly? Why do you say that?
Well, I had things thrown at me. Some guy spit on me once. Just, you know, that kind of thing. And as far as the teachers were concerned, I had teachers who never called my name during roll call. They just marked me present, but they never called my name. They never called on me. So, you know.
But they call other students' names?
Yes, everybody down the list, but they did not call my name.
Nobody would say anything to me, nothing. And I still have nightmares now about that. I really do. Doesn't occur often, but I do. It's like in my dreams and my nightmares, I'm in Louisa County High School, and I'm in the hallways, and everybody's, you know, going to their particular lockers and rooms and everything, and I'm out there looking for my locker. I can't find it, and I'm petrified because I'm going to be late for class. And then, you know, then the hallway is clear. Nobody's there, and nobody's trying to help me find my locker. And then sometimes is where I'm looking for my classroom, and nobody is there to help me.
Anything you would have done differently if you were to be plopped back into 1965 as an eighth grader? Anything you would have changed?
Not that I can think about, because I just don't recall the friction. That I think it may even be worse now than it was then. in many instances. And I've said this before, I don't think that we have the same problems in Louisa County that some of these other places have. And what I mean by that is, I've got a lot of Black friends, and certainly a lot of a lot of my constituents are Black. And I don't have people, coming to me expressing, concerns. I know that when there was a Black Lives Matter rally that was done in Louisa, I did have constituents, asking me what that was all about. And it certainly appeared to be that they was trying to stir up stuff in Louisa that they didn't really feel like existed. And I noticed we had the one and it sort of fizzled. But when you look around this country at the problems that they are having, Richmond included, I don't see that we have that anywhere close to the problems in Louisa, the racial issues that are exhibited other places.